graded, what you're being evaluated on, and then each week you've got the list of your knots, what the general plan is for what we're gonna do in the classroom, what's gonna be done out in the field, and then homework if we know what that is. This is still a work in progress, so the stuff may change, and but basically we're trying to give you like a pretty clear vision of what you need to have and know each class. I'd say from a student perspective, one of the most important new additions to the syllabus is this section that starts with, by the start of the class, you should be able to. And the idea for that is that as you come into the class, like next week, there's a list. Like by the time you show up to class next week, you should be able to do these 4 bullet pointed things or understand these bullet pointed concepts. And that will be covered in like the homework or in the classroom the week before. If you feel like you're not there, if you start to feel like you're looking at these lists each week and there's things on here that concepts you're not understanding, techniques you can't do, that's when you need to say, hey, Ashley, hey, Robert, I can't do this thing, I need more practice here, and make sure that you're staying kind of on track, because this is kind of the lowest bar for like making it through this class with the skills that you need to have developed. As far as what you're evaluated on each week, you can pass this class simply by showing up and participating. So you show up, you come to class, you go out, you participate in the field, and if you follow the safety protocols, that will give you enough points to get a 70. So and it's intentionally set up like that. But obviously we'd love you to, learn everything. So every week you get evaluated on your attendance and participation, 15 points for showing up to the class, and 15 points for participating out in the field. You get 20 points per class for following the safety protocols in the field that Robert and Ashley will outline, and then the weekly knots that you'll learn. So basically, just by showing up and doing your knots, you get 70 points every week, and being safe. You're also evaluated throughout the class on 4 different key learning components, skills that you have to master in order to be a proficient climber at any level. So you have to be able to demonstrate a pre-climb inspection, and that's essentially looking and evaluating at a tree and a work site, determining its safety and making a decision about how to climb that tree, or whether or not to climb that tree in the first place. Okay, then you have to show that you can assemble a climbing system that you can climb on. You'll learn a couple of different kinds of climbing systems in this class, and you can choose any one of them. Like, you might find that one works better for you or another one works better for you. Whatever climbing system you like to climb on, as long as it's safe and it works, you're good. There's going to be a final knots test, and it's 4 must-know knots. 5. 1, 2. Oh, I didn't put 5 must-know knots, and then you have to also, and then the last thing you're evaluated on is that you have to be able to demonstrate that you can know how to use a throw line. Whether or not you can actually get it up and over your branch, don't worry about that. It's more like, can you tie the ball on? Can you more or less throw it into the air? Are you using the safe throwing words to let people know that you're going to be starting to do that? So those things that you're evaluated on, when you get evaluated on them, is up to you. Okay, so anytime after you've learned that skill, you can grab, if I'm here, me, Ashley, or Robert, I'm not necessarily going to be here for every class, but you can grab any one of us and say, hey, I'm ready to demo my pre-climb inspection. And we'll go, okay, great. And then you show one of us your pre-climb inspection and we give you feedback and voila. Hopefully it's 100 and you're finished. So it's up to you throughout the class when you feel comfortable signing off on these skills. Please don't leave them all to the last class. We'll be reminding you and keeping you kind of on track because what we don't want to have end up is like everybody gets to the final class and no one's done any of these. So as you feel comfortable, please grab us, please get yourself signed off on these things as the class progresses along. Does that all make sense? Okay, 70 points for class. You can pass it just by showing up and participating. 4 things that you, on your own pace, get checked off on that are critical skills. And then last but not least, there's going to be kind of homework, quizzes. They're not graded, they're self-graded. The point of the quizzes is to really emphasize the critical learning things that Robert wants to make sure you understand and know. It's not to be stressful, it's not to create any kind of time crunch. You get to do them on your own time at home. But the point of homework and quizzes, really the quizzes, is to just, hey, these are the key things that you needed to learn this week. Okay, all good? Okay, it's all in here. Work in progress, that's it.
So part of what I consider PPE, personal protective equipment, is also your hard hat, safety glasses, gloves, preferably over the ankle lace-up boots, like hiking boots or work boots. Almost all our climbing involves missing its one foot ascender. Wearing what we call a foot ascender, and with soft shoes or tennis shoes or something, this tends to ride up over the top of your boot or shoe and dig into your ankle bones, which can be uncomfortable. You can do it for a little while, but if you were doing it, for hours a day, it would really wear on you. Also, be walking around in some muddy areas, pretty deep mud at times, to go look at some beat up trees so we can see tree defects and talk about how trees fail and how to select tie-in points that are suitable. Rain gear is a good idea. It's spring. It'll be sunny 1 minute and then hailing on us the next, and we'll be outside for every class. And then we can talk about climbing gear. We have school provided gear here. I've got 10 sets of climbing gear, 10 climb lines, that kind of thing. So if you've got your own gear, feel free to bring it in and we'll take a look at it and make sure it's safe to use. Every time we handle gear, we'll be inspecting it, checking our knots, that the carabiners are functional. When testing a carabiner, you'll close it gently and it should pop back into the lock position on its own. You shouldn't have to manually lock that. So there's standards that govern the material we climb with, the climb lines, hitch cords, connectors, and that's all outlined in the ANSI Z133. This will be our most important standard document. It's I've copied the section on climbing gear and emailed that out to you already, but I'll resend that to your preferred emails as well. You guys could review that before next week.
I'd say one of the main takeaways with tree-specific climbing gear is that many rock climbing gear components are not cross-compatible. We use different ropes, different carabiners, different connectors, and different ways of utilizing these pieces. So if you know rock climbing, ignore that.
Yeah, if you're shopping for gear, choose a reputable shop to buy it from. Don't order stuff from Amazon. You'll easily get some mislabeled garbage that's not suitable for tree work. And even reputable shops sell some specialized gear that wouldn't be suitable for a lot of applications. So if you're thinking about buying stuff, let me know, and I'll help review your shopping list before you it's easy to waste money on climbing gear that's not really suitable. And just because another climber recommends something doesn't mean it's going to really work well for you. So if you're thinking about buying anything unique, let me know, and I probably have it, and I'll bring it in and you can try it out before you buy it. 'Cause there's a lot of weird stuff you can kind of waste money on. Where we're at. Anyway, in our what we call climb lines, I'll try to use the local industry terms. There's not established terms, and a lot of the stuff we use and talk about is holdovers from logging and caving and other industries. So regionally, the terms we use for different things vary. So something like the climbing spurs might be called irons, gaffs, hooks, climbers, spikes, yeah, depending on where you're at. And the same goes for knot names. So I've tried to, in the emails I've sent out and the knots I've assigned, use what I find to be the most common names in this area, but there's no scientific names for knots. So when you do like a web search on a certain knot, you might have to try a couple of different names, and I'll try to give you those alternative names, but so it's a good time to go ahead and start into our knots.